Good morning. It's Friday, February 26th. These are all mugs that need handles. I'm going to talk today about a technical issue. It may be of no interest to many of you, but we'll give it a try. And that's Glaze Fit. And to explain Glaze Fit, we got to get into structure and so forth. But in the long and the short of it, you've got two elements going on when you make a pot. You've got the underlying clay, and it's complicated, but it's basically sort of like a sponge made out of playing cards. Okay, we'll get into a different discussion of that. But there are spaces in between them as they dry, and those spaces pull water from the glaze, which puts glaze on the surface. The glaze, in some contexts, is just another clay, particularly fine slip clay that will melt at the right temperature. But mostly in our culture, the glaze is made of a combination of ingredients, one of which is silica, ground flint, or sometimes sold as flint. You can have ball clay in there. You have a whole variety of ingredients in there, one of which is a glass former, so forth and so on. The fit issue has to do with the fact that all these things, when they fire, shrink. They lose the spaces in between them. And in fact, the clay itself, without any glaze at all, can vitrify, which means that the spaces between all those little particles have gotten so small that water cannot go through, even without a glaze. Now, the texture can be kind of rough, and that's part of why we use glazes. And the glazes are absolutely vitrified because basically it's a form of glass. Okay, so you have all this, you've got the clay shrinking, and now you have this layer of glass shrinking too. The challenge is to design it so that the glaze shrinks just as much as the clay, or within tolerances. And by tolerances, I mean many pots are actually being squeezed by the glaze. It can be part of why you want to have glaze on the inside and the outside, so that the squeeze is equal. If the squeezing, the shrinking is too great, it can actually shatter the pot. And I lost some of those as a student because my instructor had given me a glaze that did not fit the clay. If it is not such a serious thing, you can get crazing, so little tiny cracks. And in many situations, those are considered ornamental and wonderful, but in others, they're considered a hazard in terms of, bacteria and so forth living in the cracks. So a little bit of crazing I wouldn't worry about. Too much crazing I wouldn't use for food. Anyway, that's what's going on. And definitely be happy if your pots don't explode. That was lousy. No fun at all. Have a good day.